world, yes, was shocked yesterday at the loss of veteran driver Bill Muncey, a man who was a personification of hydroplane racing. He was killed while leading the final heat in the World Championship race in Acapulco. Muncey's boat, the Atlas Van Lines, went airborne and flipped, throwing Bill out of the boat and completely severing his spinal cord between the third and fourth vertebrae in his neck. He was kept alive for a while by artificial means, but then died 4 hours later. Now, race announcer Jim Hendricks did the broadcast, and here's a portion of that final heat.
Everyone was early on that backstretch when they started, but Bill Muncey, he was way back. He came forward. Oh, my God! Bill Muncey has just flipped the Atlas Van Lines, Jim! Bill Muncey has just flipped the Atlas Van Lines. He flipped completely over, airborne. Red flags are out. Boats are all over. We don't know where Bill Muncey is. Put the glasses on him, see if we can find him. Jim, I see him back. I see him back behind the boat, Jim. I'm looking at him. He's floating in the water.
Now, Chip Hanauer was directly involved with the accident, hitting part of Muncey's boat while driving the newest version of the Squire shop. He gave us this account of what he saw happen.
As we progressed up the back chute, it was, I think, the Atlas Van Lines, Budweiser, and then the Pay and Pack. Apparently, Bill Muncey blew over backwards, very similar to what happened to me about 3 weeks ago in Lake Washington. The boat literally takes off and does a 180-degree flip. Milner in the Madison nor I saw the boat go over because he was blinded by the rooster tails of the other two boats. When we got to the second corner, we were running, it was about 5:30 in the afternoon, we were running into a bright sunlight coming off the water. As soon as I saw it, I made a hard right turn, and the right side of my boat went over the back of Bill's boat, which was now upside down, parallel to the water. Milner was behind me and had the same thing happen to him. He made a violent right turn to avoid missing Bill himself, who was floating face up in the water. When Milner made such a hard right turn, the boat spun out about 2 times, knocking Milner semi-unconscious and did a lot of damage to his boat.
Muncey was a man razzed by fans, other drivers for his controversial style and his ways, but one thing was very clear: he was the best. He talked to us about a year ago about some of the things he did to win.
Everybody says, gee, how come you guys are so lucky you never break nothing? Well, you know, we don't, and this is sort of private to us, and we don't believe in luck. We believe in God, and we believe in preparation, and it's a very personal thing with all of us, and they work darn hard to give me that machine, you know, to allow it to do what it's doing on Sunday afternoons, and it comes with hours and hours and hours of complete involvement. You got to be totally willing to pay the price to win.
Tonight at 7:30, we'll have a special on Bill Muncey live, including many of the sports broadcasting team that has done hydro racing on King 5 for so many years. We'll have that and many more things as we talk about Bill Muncey and the life he had. With us right now in the studio live, a man who we all know, Steve Reynolds, of course, who was the driver of the Circus, the Captran Resort this year for a while. And Steve, first of all, the water, they say, was smooth at that time, which is not always an ideal situation.
No, it really is an undesirable situation. A hydroplane at that point will resemble a rock skipping across the water. Actually, with about a 3 or 4 inch chop, the boat will bounce from side to side and spill a little bit of air.
So you think maybe going into that sun, too, was a problem of trying, you were talking a little bit about it, a boat tends to dip, too, as well, when it goes into
correct,
a time like that.
On smooth water, a boat will porpoise more, and right at that point of entering the corner where Bill's accident occurred, just as he started to decelerate, the boat will bring the attitude of the boat up in the air, change the angle of attack, and it's a very critical point. If he was driving into the sun, if the water was blurred, it could have been a part of his problem at that point.
You and I know that Bill pushed that boat very, very hard the last 2 years, going after the Budweiser. Do you feel he was pushing beyond the limits maybe at one point?
I don't think so. I think Bill Muncey was a man of all men who could measure the limits of his equipment. I think he knew the Atlas Van Lines better than anyone knew their boat. If Bill had reached a point where he thought it was unsafe, only Bill could have made that decision. I think that he was fully in control.
You being a fellow driver, all of us as broadcasters knew Bill, a certain side of Bill, and a little bit of that private Bill Muncey. You knew that private Bill Muncey. What was he like?
Bill was a man that was very jealous of his private time. He was a very loving and father. I found him to be such with his children in California and proud of his children here in Washington. He was a man who had an awful lot of compassion, both for people that he drove against and with. You were a member of a fraternity that he felt responsible for, and so...
he was the big brother.
Oh, and indeed he was. Indeed he was. He took very good care of all of us. Not afraid to chastise you or criticize you if you made a wrong comment to the press or made a mistake out on the course, but it was done in private. He was a man I'll miss very, very much.
One other question. How is this going to affect racing? I remember when they had the 3 deaths one year, they said that was the end of it. How will it affect it, Ski?
Certainly there's going to be a void in unlimited racing that's going to take some time to recover, but if Bill would have wanted anything, it was hydroplane racing to endure. He felt responsible for the fact that he was considered a legend and, you know, the old man, the spokesman, so to speak. As I said, he felt responsible for that. I think that he would want it to endure. Certainly the legend of Bill Muncey will continue. We've lost a legend yesterday, but we've also started a new era in hydroplane racing.
Yes, that's right. Steve, thanks for being with us.
Sure.
Tough time for all of us right now.